Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily DVAR. And here's a brand new halacha for Friday, the 31st day of January, which is, of course, Rosh Chodesh. Just a reminder on that. Today we're going to give you a halacha about the idea of not eating at all before Kiddush. You know, we mentioned yesterday, in yesterday's halacha, that a lot of times there's a rule like not starting a meal within a half an hour of when you're supposed to, like, let's say, read the Megillah or do something like that. And we explained yesterday that the rabbis did that, of course, because they knew if we let you get involved in a big meal and a mitzvah's coming, it could push off the mitzvah, and we don't want that to happen. But this like kind of way that we just described doesn't happen. It isn't listed halachically like that when it comes to Kiddush, because what we all do when it comes time to be soon time for Kiddush, we say not even to eat a morsel, and it all of a sudden gets like way stricter. And some of you are used to this law, and if you've never heard of it before, then certainly you need to know it now. Once Shabbos has begun on a Friday night, we don't eat, drink, or do anything, not even a morsel of food, until after Kiddush is recited. I hope you knew that. And if you didn't, now you know that. But the question here is, even if you did know it, why? Why did the rabbis change it? Whereas when you were getting close to the reading of the Megillah, we told you don't start a meal within half hour of the time. Granted, by the way, that on Purim, you're often fasting right before the reading of the Megillah, but let's get away from that point. The idea still is that when a mitzvah is coming up, like let's say shaking of the lulav, we will say don't start a meal within a half an hour of the time that you're supposed to be shaking the lulav. And yet when it comes to Kiddush, we say Kiddush is soon, so not even a morsel of food in your mouth. Why the strictness? And the Mishnah Berurah says that it's quite simple. It boils down to the fact that the rabbis wanted Kiddush to always be as soon as possible, right when you get home from shul on a Friday night. And therefore, in order to help that happen, you can see the practicality in the matter. In order to help that happen, they said don't touch a morsel of food until after you've recited Kiddush. And that does get us to have Kiddush happen in a very timely fashion. And really, no kidding around, that's why it was designed that way, to make sure that Kiddush will happen in its most timely fashion. This applies to women too, just like men, same thing. But children who are under bar or bat mitzvah age don't have to be forced to be as strict on this matter as us grown-ups do. If a person needs to take medication, really has to take medication before Kiddush, even with a swallow of water, that would be permitted. The main thing that we're saying is that there's no general eating, a morsel of food, but a medicine pill that has to go down and even needs a bit of water to have it go down, that would be considered okay. The Mishnah Berurah does add this unusual one. I hope this never happens to you. But if you are trying not to eat a morsel of food before Kiddush, and you are stuck in an awful situation where you know that there's just no chance this Shabbos that you're going to find any kosher wine or challah or bread or anything, and you won't be able to make Kiddush, does that mean that you have to fast the entire Shabbos and not put a morsel of food in your mouth? So the answer to that is no. The rabbis only instituted this when they knew that Kiddush was out ahead of you. The wine's available now, or the wine will be available later Friday evening, so they said don't eat a morsel till you, in a timely fashion, make Kiddush. But if you're stuck on a desert island and you won't have any proper wine or challah at all for Kiddush, you do not have to fast the whole 25 hours. Once it's clear to you that you will not have wine for Kiddush or bread for Kiddush, then you may eat. Thanks for logging on. Have a great Shabbos, a good Chodesh, and bring on more happiness, because we are now ready to say Mishanichnas Adar. When the month of Adar arrives, we increase our happiness. Officially, Adar begins on Friday night going into Shabbos, but we've derived at Rosh Chodesh. So have a good Chodesh, and log on again after Shabbos for more.